Those who have been to a ruined wedding, what happened? A coworker was at one of best friend's wedding. There were very specific rules about the food, no nuts. There were a couple people there, including the maid of honor, who were severely allergic. The venue served something that had nuts. Maid of honor went anaphylactic. EpiPen was not effective, and she died on the way to the hospital. Needless to say, there are lawsuits abound. We attended a wedding for family member who didn't have a lot of money. It was hosted at an inexpensive venue, but was nice. My heart broke when only a third of the people invited showed up. You could see the hurt in the couple's face. They came up to our table and said, "Do you have any friends in city? We lived an hour away." They had all this food for 100 people, but only 30 guests. They were willing to have complete strangers come down just so their money and food wouldn't go to waste. We hadn't handed over our card with cash inside yet, so my husband hit the ATM and added another $100. I'm a wedding photographer. I was at one really fancy one a couple of years ago, typical outdoor deal at a swanky location in the middle of nowhere. The place was really nice, had a large concrete stairway flanked by water fountains that led down to the altar area, so the bride could be seen by all like she was ascending from heaven. The ceremony begins and the bridal party come down and take their places. Then the bride appears with her father. She takes 3 or 4 steps down the concrete steps and her shoe twists on her. She tumbled down a good 12 feet or more and busted out the majority of her front teeth in the fall. So much blood all over her. With the place being so isolated, it took a good 40 minutes for ambulance to arrive and she was in intense pain. Ultimately she was okay, and I got an email from them weeks later with the rescheduled date. This time there was no stairs anywhere in sight. What family secret was finally spilled in your family? Found out my uncle is actually my brother. My mom had him when she was so young that my grandparents raised him. My sister cheated on her husband throughout her entire marriage to the point that all 3 of her kids have different biological fathers. When my mother fell ill and I took over her finances, I found thousands of pounds of gambling debt on her credit cards. Then I found adoption papers for a child she'd had before me that she'd never mentioned. Then another family member told me my dad didn't die in a car crash, but committed suicide in prison. To the people who record themselves crying and then post it to a social media, why? Well, I only did it once because I used to have a YouTube channel where I would post videos of my first cockatiel, but one day she passed away, and I was just telling the people who would watch my videos why I would not be posting, and then I broke down and started crying. I'm just waiting for someone to answer the question that it was actually towards. I guess since everybody else is just going to reply with anecdotes and talk about how much better they are than that, I'll bite. I did that once. Why? Like a lot of people suggested, attention. I was 14, I was alone, I was hurting. I wanted someone to tell me I would be okay, and I wasn't getting that IRL. So I went online and recorded myself crying and trying to talk about what was upsetting me. I got a lot of assholes responding, because people seemed so excited to tear down a sad little girl. But I did get kind responses too, and when I felt better, I thanked the people who were kind and deleted the video. Sometimes people just need a few nice words, and I don't think they're bad for that.